Welcome to Kitchen Chats. I am here in my kitchen prepping lunch boxes for lunch. And you really don't see much of that. What you do see is just me talking to you for the day. I love the idea of standing in someone's kitchen as they are doing a task and just having conversation. So often that is how I've had some of my best conversations, is just being in the presence of someone as they accomplish some other task. It's really one of my favorite things, and it's probably what I miss the most, being now an entrepreneur at home, is that I don't necessarily have lots of conversations with people in the way that I used to when I was working at a corporate job. Because in that space, I would do my work and then I'd go have some conversation with people and see what they were up to, and then I'd go back to doing more work, or I'd have a question and I'd swing by someone's desk and they'd be working on their task, and then we'd be able to chat a little bit as they were doing it and then go about our day, and then, same thing, visiting family, visiting friends. So often we end up, or at least I end up, in the kitchen with people as we're doing things. We're prepping for a meal that we're gonna have together, or we are just in the space because it's comfortable and it's where we like to be. And then we get to have our conversations. And so while I've been doing Terra and Coffee on a pretty regular basis, that conversation is no more than a minute long, right? I explain the process, that I'm gonna pull a tarot card, that I just poured my coffee, that we are just doing a general reading for the day, something to keep in mind, and then I give the reading and it's done, right? It's a minute. And it's enjoyable, and I love doing that because I love pulling a tarot card every day, and I love providing that advice for people in a easy, relatable way, right? So often I feel like spiritual teachings and lessons, very often they're looked upon as being something that is above just common household knowledge. But common household knowledge is how information gets spread in a way that everybody can benefit. And so by inviting you into my kitchen while I drink coffee and pull a tarot card, inviting you into my kitchen as I prep a lunch and then just chat with you about spiritual or esoteric things that are on my mind, it gives that sense of familiarity. It gives you an opportunity to know that this is just something you can chat about and understand and explore, and you don't have to be sitting in a sacred space somewhere because somebody else has told you that space is sacred and that's the only place to learn these things. Sacredness is within us. Sacredness is what we make it. Sacredness is anything we really want it to be. And for me, my kitchen is a sacred space. It's a space where I prep food. It's a space where I plan my day. It's a space where I feel so much comfort and joy. And so choosing to do this talk with you on a somewhat regular basis from here in my kitchen is where it feels the most magical for me, because this is, for me, where magic happens. This is where I get to feel like I am my most aligned, and that's different for everyone. But I am glad to invite you here into this space and to explore it with me. And I invite you to find those spaces for yourself, right? What space do you enjoy being in the most that feels like you can just have these kinds of conversations? Where do you want to be? when you think about these things, when you have these conversations, when you listen to the video or watch it, does it feel good also being in your kitchen and making it feel like, you know, from your kitchen to my kitchen, we are sharing space? Would you rather be outside sitting under a tree while I talk tarot and esoterics and while I accomplish my tasks and you just sit and enjoy the weather? You don't have to be in the same space that I'm in to be able to enjoy these conversations. And that's what I love about this medium, about this format, about being able to do this, right? It opens us up to so many possibilities. And so that's my thoughts today on that portion of life and esotericism and choosing to allow yourself access to it if you want it. It can be whatever you want it to be. And that is a beautiful thing, my friend. I think today we'll talk about what the card of the day was. So I pulled the Four of Pentacles today. Now, when we think about our tarot cards, fours tend to be about structures, and then pentacles are about resources, money, and those kinds of things. And so sometimes when we see the Four of Pentacles, people think of someone who is greedy. Here, I'll show you. So with the Four of Pentacles, we have someone who has a pentacle under each foot. They're holding on to a pentacle, and there's a pentacle over their head, the city behind them, and they have a crown on. So sometimes people's knee-jerk reaction with the fact that they're stepping on the coins, they're holding on to it, is this idea that somebody's choosing not to give of their wealth to you or anyone, right? I like to think of tarot as an internal practice, less about the external, unless I ask a question that has to do with external things. Often I look at it as our own internal compass. And so for me, when I see the Four of Pentacles, it's about boundaries. Now, it came up reversed when I went to pull it. Now, for me, reversals are like, hey, really look at this. It's more of a, less of a changing of the meaning and more of a like a, hey, this might be something to really pay attention to closely and see if you're vibing with it or not. Now, the Four of Pentacles being, fours being structures, pentacles being resources, I think of as the boundaries card when it comes to how you are giving or receiving resources in your life. And so the idea would be that if the Four of Pentacles comes up for me in a reading, I like to suggest that we look at how well we're keeping our boundaries. Now, with the reversal, often it's an idea that our boundaries are not solid enough or they're too solid. And I know that that's going to be one of those things that you have to kind of figure out. Now, if I pulled multiple cards, I'd look at those other cards as kind of a little bit more understanding. And if I was with a particular person, then I would get a better feel for like, okay, for you, from our conversation, from the rest of the reading, from the intuition I'm getting, that means you need to hold tight onto your boundaries. You're going to encounter something where you're going to want to slip up in your boundaries. Your boundaries are important. I like to think of it as, well, I did it in the corporate space too. I do it now as a mom, where it's like you have to judge whether somebody asking you for something is actually something you can do at that moment. If someone comes to you and they say, this is really important, I need it now, you have the ability to take a step back and go, okay, these are the things on my plate right now. This is what I'm doing. And you don't have to say this out loud. Can all be an internal thing, right? This is what's on my plate. This is what I have to get done. This is what I need to get done. This is what I want to get done. This other person has come in and asked for something from me, a resource from me, whether it's my time, whether it's my money, whether it's the things I am working on doing right now. Now I have to decide, do I say, no, this is my space, these are my things, I cannot provide that to you? Or do I have the ability to give it? Now, if you have no boundaries, you're not going to do that process. You're not going to do that mental process of like, what's going on? You're not going to do the dance of, can I do this or not? You're just going to simply go with, yes, great, you need this thing, let me do it for you. But that might not be what is actually needed at that time for you. Or you could be so closed off that you're like, I can't do anything right now, go away. Which also might not be what you need to be doing. So when I say that it's that your boundaries are either too tight or too loose, it means there's a moment where you should be actually taking that pause and going, okay, here's my situation. Which way do I go? And allowing yourself the luxury of actually pausing and determining which way it needs to go. And so that, with us being the card today, is going to be like a really good reminder as you go about your day of like, something comes up and it's like, wait, do I have the capacity to take this on right now at this moment? Is this what I want to be doing? So that is your advice for today, your little pep talk, your little deeper dive into tarot and what to expect. I am so glad you've come to join me here in my kitchen for this chat, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye for now.